We're about to go inside of the C-suite to chat to CEO of Bigen Africa, Dr. Khoza. Let's go. Wow, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Welcome to Bigen Africa.
It's really awesome to be here. I'm really excited about this conversation, particularly because you operate in a space that is so critical to the growth of this country and the actual continent. Yeah.
Correct. Thank you very much.
So thank you.
Yes.
Tell us a bit about where you come from and how you ended up in this space of a male-dominated industry.
Well, Tim, I've been blessed because it's not the first time that I'm working in an environment which is male-dominated. I worked for the Development Bank of Southern Africa for 12 years. And my first role as a manager there was to look after town planners, policy developers, and policy analysts, statisticians, engineers, interestingly. So I come from there. So coming to Bigen Africa was almost like a continuation, but a continuation with a difference. Because this time is almost like white male-dominated industry. 90% of Bigen Africa.
But you seem to thrive in that space, though. Is there something you figured out about operating in that sort of an out-group, in-group, out-group dynamic?
It was mainly because of understanding what needs to be done and focusing on infrastructure development, not only for South Africa, but also for the continent. Yes, and more passionately so because, you know, the outcome of infrastructure development is about improving the quality of life of people. So I wanted to make sure, remember, the most beneficiary of infrastructure is women and children. So as a woman, I had an agenda to ensure that it happens, so that women don't go and fetch wood, don't go and fetch water in the river, but they can just open a tap in their homes.
As a child, as a young woman growing up, did you dream of being sort of a director? Did you enjoy the idea of having influence?
I've always believed, because I grew up in such a poor environment and being raised by my grandmother, I believe that I have to be one of those leaders, those directors that can make a difference in improving the quality of life of people. Because poverty is a sad story for the continent. It is the truth, it's happening, but I believe that if many of us can come together and make a difference, we will be able to eradicate poverty. And I'm one of those people that I said to myself, I want to be in the boardroom. Tim, I wanted to be there because I believed that if I'm not there, I won't be able to make the difference that I will be able to make if I'm up there.
And the confidence is your grandmother. Was she the one who really sort of drove home the sense of self-identity and so forth?
Yes, you know, my grandmother was a woman of virtue. You know, during those days, during apartheid days, my grandmother made sure that she helped so many of the freedom fighters that were coming to her home. And she always said to ourselves that we have to be part and parcel of that army that is fighting to bring liberation in this country. And my grandmother also believed in education. So she said to me, it doesn't matter whether I'm earning pension money, I'm going to make sure that I give you this pension money to go to school. But I was also blessed because I met so many other people around South Africa that put their hands in the pocket and paid for my fees. And, you know, thankfully so, Tim, I was one of the bright students at school. I was always number one and wanting to make sure that I become number one. So even in the business environment, I wanted to make sure that that happens.
In your specific background, did you, is engineering in this sort of structural sort of environment, was that natural to you as a child, as a young woman? Did you enjoy, or do you have a creative side? Do you marry them together?
Yes, I do have a creative side. All along, you know, when I was young, I used to make cars out of wires. You know, the hangers.
Yes,
you know, in the olden days, we used
yeah.
to have wire hangers.
Yes, yes.
So I'll bend them and make a car and take shoe polish containers and make wheels.
Oh, wow.
And then do a steering wheel. So I've always wanted to, I don't know, I had a tomboy side of myself.
So your education, in your background, did you decide early on that you wanted to be in and around sort of the infrastructure engineering space, or did you come, because a lot of people, they study things and then they lead in another area completely?
Yeah, no, quite interesting, Tim. I started off as a social worker.
Wow. Yeah, it
Yes,
happens often.
Yeah, I was a social worker for many, many years, and my passion was more on assisting poor families and also helping children to go to school, looking after the aged. I love old people. So then I decided, you know what? I think I've done what I needed to do. I want to be in a business environment where I'll be able to influence as a leader and to be able to make the decisions that I want to make, rather than think about something and ask somebody else to make the decisions on my behalf. And that's when I started studying further. Ended up with a PhD and an MBA, and then later on then I decided, okay, then I must go to public sector. So I worked in the public sector for a while. And then I decided I will then, do my MBA and start working in the private sector as well.
Do you feel that the early sort of work you have in social work help you understand people, help you engage people?
Yes.
So that was that critical for you?
That was very important, Tim. But also what it did, it also helped me to understand, because I always thought that poverty is only in my family. And I didn't know that so many other people are poor, so many people are unemployed, so many of the children cannot go to school because they don't have the funding. And those days, children had to pay school fees. Thank God now in our country, our government has made sure that, there are children that don't have to pay fees if they cannot afford. But those days, that helped me to understand that there are so many other challenges that families are facing. Marital breakdown, children growing up without parents, and so on and so on. And I said to myself, I want to follow a field that will help me to bring all of those things to bear and make a contribution where we'll be able to make sure that families have got water, they've got homes, they've got food, children can go to school. And where else would you go if it's not in the infrastructure development space, Tim?
Got it.
You see.
Now, from the infrastructure side, the leadership side, which do you enjoy the most?
Tell you the truth, I enjoy the infrastructure side. You can see the difference in the improvements of the quality of life of people. Leadership is about sitting in the boardroom, making great decisions. It's important, but at the same time, it's important to be on the ground and understand the issues and be able to make the right decisions. But also you want to make sure that you understand that the things that you're doing are indeed making a difference in people's lives.
Leading in a diverse environment, I've noticed, first of all, I love the fact that you seem to love people. That's number one. But there's a very diverse environment. You got older people, younger, different races, different backgrounds.
That's true.
Is
and
that
people from different countries as well, speaking different languages.
Yes. And how do you work and lead inside of that space effectively?
Well, it's like you said, Tim, the first thing is understanding people and loving what they're doing and what they're bringing, appreciating their skills and competencies, things that they have that I don't have, and bringing that, knowledge and competencies in a manner that brings Bigen Africa in a space where we are acknowledged and appreciated. I always say people are our assets, because without them, we won't be able to be doing what we're doing. The work, the creative work, the innovation, their competencies and skills helps Bigen to become the #1 leading infrastructure development company of our size, being South African based in the continent.
Young women who are dreaming of operating at a CEO level, early on, what are some decisions they need to make as a young woman to prepare themselves to get to this level?
I know that in the past it was difficult for young women to go to school because of lack of funding. But now our government is providing, so many African governments are providing funding for children to go to school. So if they can go to school and get educated, then they've got something in them that no one can take from them. Thirdly, is for them to understand what is it that they want to do and who they want to become. Because once they define that, once they have the vision, they'll be able to achieve that vision. Fourthly is who else is in this area that you can go to for your coaching, for your mentorship, and so on and so on, and walk the path with them and become who they are. And other than that, acknowledging the fact that all environments are difficult environments. There's so many challenges. Nothing is easy, nothing is simple. Everything is complex and complicated and difficult. So to have the resilience to stick it on no matter what, and to have the courage to go through no matter what, and to be focused and determined to say, I'm going to succeed irrespective. And that's what I did myself. I said, I came into this male-dominated environment, but I'm going to win. I'm a winner, I'm not a failure. So to young women out there, take that and tell yourself you're going to be like many other women that are out there. We've got women, Nkosazana Zuma in the AU. We've got 2 presidents, one in Mauritius, and President
Liberia.
in Liberia.
Yeah.
So
It's happening.
It's happening.
It's happening.
So Africa is opening up for women.
Absolutely.
So let's all go out there and make a difference.